Hello, motivational strategies and changing trends. Under this podcast series, this is next episode. By profession, I'm IT consultant. Also, I have done project management professional and agile professional. Those two membership I have received around a decade ago. Project Management Institute generally governs or it produces the laws of the project management or all the rules. The purpose of this podcast is to create certain kind of artifacts because I will be trying to become a volunteer in project management institute which where I am a member. So let's start. I want to consider a time frame between last half century and this 25 years. This is quarter century. PMI comes in exactly in the middle. So it came around 1990 at that time. At the start of the previous half century, there were several high performance teams were there or projects were there, and we saw such a great technological advancement happen in terms of automobile or electronics and the foundation of IT or computerization. All those fundamental research happened at that time. The project management or the rules were generally becomes the proprietary of that particular organization. For example, Toyota has certain uh, management practices to manage the project. They generally have as a proprietary. Or IBM had their rules of managing the things of creating the different products. When PMI comes into picture, all those things get into kind of they got a umbrella organization and we got a formalization or ever compassing all the rules. Last century, we generally saw waterfall project management methodology as well as Kanban was very famous, especially in Toyota and other manufacturing things. In the last decade of the previous century, rapid changes or improvement happened in the computerization and it started IT industry literally it kicked off and uh, so agile project management methodology becomes very prominent, especially for the software industry. Agile manifesto, if you see, it clearly says they want to produce the high quality, high performance software rather than doing all other things like following the processes or some other things. I think that concept was because earlier there was high emphasis on certain kind of practices. If you see some kind of organization like ISO or something, they have a huge documentation of processes and everything, which was unnecessary for the software industry. So Agile Manifesto clearly put the emphasis on the working software rather than creating everything else. And they said everything else is required after you do this. Apart from that, software industry works in a very lean way in terms of project development. Other industries won't. If you take any manufacturing industry, so you have to do all your uh, project planning, and once you start the project, probably you may not be able to do back and forth, or change management will be very restricted once you have the blueprint there, which is not the case for software. So that was the difference. How Project Management Institute defined the framework. So at the granular level, there is a project and there was an operation. Project got rolled up into say program, which are like the related projects were developed and managed, and then it's a portfolio. They develop the tools, techniques, processes, activities around it, and a proper framework was suggested. In if you study the PMI, then generally project manager is considered as the main or everything and all to as a responsible guy to deliver the project or deliver the deliverables. Now I'm trying to come into try to make a comparison like for this quarter of century. So since this quarter of century, we have a very rapid enhancements in computerization and digital and AI is into picture, which acts as a catalyst to uh, rapid development in all kind of technologies. So AI is coming into part of the project management, or it is part of the project management. And I have seen that PMI has introduced the new, they have introduced a new channel to like a new framework for the with AI project management with AI. I have not read that yet, or I have not been part of that, but probably they might have addressed those points which AI can help or AI can take into picture for a project manager. If you want to study the project manager, so that's what I wanted to coming from. Project manager was considered as everything, uh, like starting with the charter of the project, which why this project is there or what's the outcome, and then it goes through different subject areas, and then each will have its own activities, or it's called ITTO, like input, tools, technique, and output, and they have a complete framework. And project manager is the main thing behind it. I'm not reading exactly all the subject areas or the ITTO, which we'll do probably next when I want to do a particular area and I want to create some training material or any voluntary material as suggested to me. But right now I'm talking on the high level. So that's why I'm not giving any exact name of the any activities or any particular ITTO. But in general, if you see, project manager was considered as a main thing. Now, when AI comes, project manager had particular responsibilities. And if you see a PMBOK or project management body of knowledge, they have considered several types of project management responsibilities for which project manager is responsible about. Now AI comes into picture. So that's what my discussion point is, that how both things have been addressed. Probably that has been addressed into the next framework, what they are defined, but I have not gone into that. So this is my points are discussing, considering I have not read that the new thing. So once AI comes into picture, so project management, the responsibilities becomes so different and so change. If you take the agile, they have clearly defined like project manager should be of particular leadership type style. Like they have said it should be the servant leadership style, because what agile wants is as a software, they want the project manager as a servant leader and to reduce the or address the impediments and do the coordination between the different stakeholders and uh, do all the coordination. That's and follow the all the agile ceremonies. That's what agile generally, or Scrum. If you see, Scrum generally follows that, and that's why we see one Scrum Master or one project manager addresses the multiple projects in that area, and then everything else will be back. The other responsibilities are handled by the other team. But in the traditional model, project manager is always main. They have addressed certain things like certain situation where uh, collective responsibility is given to the entire team rather than the one guy. But generally, that has been discouraged. If you see, main thing they have discussed all the things considering project manager as the main thing. But considering AI, now lots of responsibilities will become different or eased. So that's where I'm coming from. Apart from that, I wanted to discuss about the leadership and then the communication and the communication and motivation. That's the main thing. So I'm going to discuss or put some postulate or certain different thoughts about it, how we can do those, how we can address those particular points, or how we can address, or if possible, we can add some activity or at least some certain material, if possible. That's what is I'm trying to see. Now, if AI is taking over certain activities like coordination or communication, especially emailing, taking notes, or making sure all the stakeholders' thoughts are properly organized and we have a dashboard very easily created without, because those were all the functionalities of project manager to keenly listen and address and make sure, keep a log of it and then coordinate. But with AI, all these functionalities can become very easy. So even I would suggest traditional project management also will go for the strictly go for servant leadership, because if you consider just as a project, then project manager, everything becomes a little tough, I can tell you. Considering that, project manager, project management book of knowledge says project manager can handle the project if he follows all these framework. But we have different types of projects, and there are new things are coming up. For example, if you see energy sector, which was earlier very strict about how can energy produce, like it was hydroelectric or fossil fuel. Now there are so many different things are coming up. If space exploration, that is totally new thing, and all other things, even medical and all the research thing, which are becoming agile in sense, which earlier were strictly going traditional way. We can do all these things, because even you are building a project like building a construction building, but we are now able to do models very easily. Earlier also better than earlier one, because using AI we can do all the models, we can study even before doing it, and then actual construction can start. So projects can become very different way. Point is, do you project manager should be management expert in that particular area or not? Because suppose I'm in IT and I am leading a project, the question comes when we are doing some estimation, we are talking with the team, or we are talking about some technical issue. Now, what team tells, I need to understand. If I'm just a project manager, then I may not understand. Or if I'm leading some construction project, then I may not understand what they're saying. So why not the leading should be the subject matter? Leading or technical lead should be the one actually lead the project, and the project manager, which is defined in the PMBOK, will become like a servant leader, and he will be coordinating multiple projects the way currently Agile does it. So that's what I'm coming from. Probably that's what they might have discussed in their AI thing. But in traditional project management, as is, probably will not sustain as far as I can see with AI. One project manager may not sustain. Project manager will be the one technical lead, because that's how he will execute project. He is the one right to execute project. If it is a construction project and if I'm doing it, I may not understand what they are talking about. Or especially if they are giving some technical solution and they are estimating it, how I understand if I'm not in that exact industry. So the subject matter expert should be the project leader per se should be the technical manager, and he can handle the thing. The coordination and all other piece with AI, it can become like a functional organization. So what we can say is functional manager will supply you project managers, and then they can handle the multiple projects, because that activities needs to be done like coordination and all the other scheduling, high level leadership. If you want to consider small project or like a project and program and portfolio, so the leadership things becomes different. But because on the project level, what leadership, there is no strategy. So leadership is to govern, like produce the governance or best practices or high performance team. That should be the focus. If you go above, then the leadership focus changes. Leadership will focus become more strategy, technological innovation, those kind of things, adapt to the new technologies, those things, the higher leadership will take care. In the project management, project level, the leadership is limited scope to produce a high performance team. So that's where I'm coming from. PM Box suggests different methodologies for team building and motivation. The motivational theories are suggested, and even if you go to B school, they suggested we studied those same uh, motivational strategies. There are like theory X, theory Y, uh, theory Z. Then there are hygiene factors and few other things are there. What we are saying now is those theories were developed most of the time, or at least fundamentally theorized in the previous century, and the theory was totally different. Now the theories are different. People, for example, theory X, theory Y considers, theory X probably considers that person may not know his goals, but he just wants to go for income or something. That's what it has been suggested. What I'm saying is probably that not the case. Person even come out of B school, but probably he's so confused because there are so many goals are there. So we need the proper counseling or a good leadership style there to probably align the right guys into the team and then focus them for the time bound period and create the great performance. Now they are suggesting the hygiene factor, like uh, the motivation depends upon the salary or work condition, building or practices or something. Now we want to cross the practices part because of the 360-degree feedback. And if you go to like a model company like Google, Apple, they have like a very structured environment. Your performance will be recorded, and you have the 360-degree feedback and the evaluation. They will evaluate you every said period. So the biases part was there earlier, which was people don't understand. Okay, if there's some kind of biases coming up now, it will be highly addressable, so every employee can address it. So if any issue comes, it can be addressed because the way the performance evaluation takes place. So that part I don't want to consider as a main thing. Hygiene factor of other things, if you see, they are at par. Like if you go to Google or Apple or Boeing or any other industry or finance industry, the workplace will be at par. And nowadays this work from home culture, so your home should be at par for you, so that way workplace hygiene consideration will not be there. Because even everything is good, still people do the attrition. Attrition rate doesn't change. The self-induced attrition rate doesn't change. uh, More mainly because of the goals, priorities, or confusion. When you are developing a high focus teams or high performance teams, so if we have to address few of these things in terms of motivation. So I was trying to suggest in one of my other podcasts that let's consider the example. Uh, if you are like a 3 4 year child and you don't know what are the goals, okay? So the person doesn't know, and that's not the age the person knows the goals or anything. Now we see the legends or prodigies are produced at the age of 16 and 17. For example, if you go to the sports industry, Michael Phelps, so he got so many medals, or he became the legend. Do you see? Probably, or most probably, Michael Phelps' mother induced that into him. Michael Phelps lived the dream of his mother. Take example of Williams sisters. They lived their dream of their father. Steffi Graf or Andre Agassi both lived the dream of their father. Or Martina Navratilova, if you take, she lived her dream of her mother. So, because if you guide them that way, or so parental coaching, that's what I want to emphasize on. The way Agile emphasize on servant leadership, because there are multiple other leadership are there. But if you take the project, if you take the time box of project, then those leadership doesn't really come into picture. Because those, if you are taking just a project, you don't have any way to take a strategical decision or change the technology, those kind of decisions you cannot take at the project level. Those leaderships are different. Uh, so servant leadership is the right at the project level. And that the strategy of leadership, scheduling, governance, best practices. Uh, Next time I will do the I will create the slides so that we can actually talk about the exact points what PMBOK says. But those points are there, and the servant leadership is the best because we don't want any uh, transformation leadership or democratic leadership. That's not required there because what the scope is limited. So that's what I'm coming from. So in that limited scope, how we can do it. Now, team building, the top level management doesn't do that. So team building is the scope of the current management, our current project manager. If he can produce a high performance team, then it is implicit get the great skills, but how to motivate them? Because the great skills come, but it's not motivated or it's not producing to the self actualization or symphony or the resonance. If it's not produced, then high performance team won't be there. How to produce high performance? That's what is the parental coaching. Coaching leadership style is always there. We are emphasis on parental coaching. That means the way Michael Phelps' mother might have taught him or induced the motivation in him. You understand there is a difference. Professional coach and then the parental coach, there is a difference. If you are the guided professional coach, parental coaches are there. If you see nowadays, the things are totally changed compared to the previous century. I want to give a funny example. If you go to previous century, how was the mortality rate? People will die with diarrhea or a plague or so many other things were there, or probably the warfare. Natural cause was very less. Now, if you come, a lot of people don't. The mortality rate is not because of that, because it is changed. Now it becomes hard. Even in the small age, like 25, 30 years, we develop so many things. Stress that kills you, almost kills you. Stress is the greatest demotivator, even you have everything else in you. So the focus is changed now. So we have to clearly focus there that how you will reduce the stress or how will guide it or how will, but that should be parental coaching because the professional coaching, those parts will be always there. If you go to now, the internet is there, chat GPT is there, you whatever you want to do, that will be coming. But uh, that's where is the difference of parental coaching is coming in. So using the parental coaching, we want to say, I want you to succeed. I want you to develop. I want to introduce you to this project and we have this goal. I want to see you will like it. Can you see for the time bound period? Do you think you can align your goal in this? As said, transformation is possible. We are not trying to create legends. Let me make it clear. We are trying to generate legendary performance, legendary team performance. And that's the part of the project because that's not the strategy. Our strategy will be always like that. Create a high performance team. I mean, who says our team should not be high performance? That's the strategy will be always like that. When it comes to the that time bound or that bound of that project manager, they have to employ the different techniques and the emphasis needs to be on these points. That way we can have a legendary performance, team performance. We don't want to create legends or I mean, if you want to, that's good enough. But our focus is to create a legendary team performance and high performance uh, by creating the synchronization, creating the symphony, and creating the resonance. So your inner skills, high skills, a lot of time they will be, you have to bring them up, and then if they come up, you will see all those great things happens. Uh, that's where my focus will be. And in motivation theories, probably I would suggest that because uh, all the points will be there in terms of motivation theories and everything. Team building theories are there, but we have to say that parental coaching that should be the leadership style there of the project manager. So project manager can focus on these points, and the technical lead will lead that, okay, what technology you want today, database, which database you want, or which cloud technology you want. Do you know, if you go to App Store, your cloud, there are so many apps keeps on coming. Technology every day is changing. So the technical manager is the right person, and he should be focused on that, and he should be leading that. But we don't want to create too many leadership points which can go to different uh, different power centers and then create a chaos. That's not the point. So technology manager and all the focus what PM Box suggested, that's perfect. So technical lead should be doing the things what is expected, and the project manager should be probably his roles should become focused on this, because we really don't want the uh, all the roles will get into converge into that, because of the all other systems, AI driven systems, it will facilitate very easily to do multiple things. So project manager in short will become like a program, will manage a program, in terms of he can manage certain sets of projects within that domain, um, not strategically but in this way. And in terms of motivation, team building, we need this so that it will create the high performance teams. And uh, I wanted to discuss the point that certain ideas are always groundbreaking, and uh, one groundbreaking idea can change the life of thousands to millions of everything. Uh, if you see 1992, Jeff Bezos was trying to sell the books on internet, e-commerce. That time it was e-commerce. I mean, telephone guys will calling in and they will do the ordering, and people don't even like that. So many people keep calling. Who knows e-commerce at that time? So, or who wants to go to his garage, or he will bring the books from his garage. How they didn't know that indexing, and I don't know what kind of index he built to show what kind of books are there. I don't know that. But that was the groundbreaking idea, and see it turn into trillions right now. Or SpaceX or the Tesla. Now, if you see, Tesla's idea of unlimited energy was from previous century, and it did not realize because people did not understand. The Higgs boson, which is going to give us to the unlimited energy, was discussed or developed or theorized in the previous century, but people did not understand the practical implications. Now, see, those are becoming like $1 trillion ideas. So ideas can come at very small places, but that's what is the focus. Because if you have such a great idea of high performance, then you're at that project level, you can multiply the success. Uh, so I would like to add some artifacts, and I would suggest certain points. So I would like to be volunteer for the Project Management Institute volunteer program, which I already registered. I'm the member of the Delaware chapter of the Project Management Institute. Uh, so going forward, probably I'll create more podcast in this regard and with presentation. So stay tuned. Thank you.